Hi students, hope to see you in good mood of health, safe and sound in your families and in your houses. Today, let's study a poem, a beautiful poem. And the name of the poem is On Children by Khalil Gibran or Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran, a multifaceted personality. By birth, he is from Lebanese. Though born in Lebanon, presently he is settled in New York. And he is called a romantic mystic. In the next slide, you would see the different topics that he has written on. His works celebrate beauty, truth, and freedom. See those topics: beauty, truth, and freedom. They sound very philosophic, but very existential as well. They're not simple poems. In fact, each poem contains volumes of philosophy that Khalil Gibran deals with us. He wants us to know about. This particular poem is taken from the collection. The name of the book is called The Prophet, and it is in the form of question and answers. Now, I said the name of the book is The Prophet. You must know the meaning of the word prophet. Prophet comes from the Greek word or two words, pro and phetos. Remember? Pro and phetos. What do you mean by pro? Pro means the one who speaks in advance before the things could happen. And phetos means speak. Hence, a prophet is the one who speaks before the things could happen. Now, in the book of Bible, that is in the book of Old Testament, we find many prophets. Prophet Isaiah, Prophet Jeremiah, Prophet Elijah, Prophet David. There are many prophets, around 18 prophets, they are there. Now all these prophets were elected and appointed by God to speak for God or to speak instead of God. I'm sure the Muslim students would also agree with that. Prophet Muhammad, they have utmost respect, a man of God. So prophet also means a man of God, but who speaks, who thinks in advance. That is what the meaning of the word prophet stands for. So this poem, Prophet Khalil Gibran speaks about prophet. So in the poem also, he is the speaker. In other words, the speaker is prophet. Now, all the writings of poet Khalil Gibran or Khalil Gibran, they're translated into 25 languages or more than 25 languages. So you can know the popularity of this particular writer and his writings. Just to enjoy the richness of his writing, they're translated into 25 or more languages. I'm not going to deal so much about Prophet Khalil Gibran, poet Khalil Gibran. And let's discuss about this particular poem, that is On Children. Now this poem speaks about how the parents should bring up their children. You see, how the parents should bring up their children. I'm sure a question must have arisen in your mind. We are children, we are students. So why this poem is for our study? Well, that is what you need to find out as you go through the poem, or maybe for your meditation, and find out why this poem is given for your study. I told you he has written on different topics. He has written on love, he has written on marriage, children, he has written on giving, self-giving, eating and drinking, he has written on work, joy and sorrow, he has written on death, he has written on beauty, on pleasure, he has written on talking, friendship, on freedom, reason, and passion. Well, I'm sure under the sun, on any topic, Let's go directly to the poem that we are going to study here. Well, the title is very strange and you see how it is. Instead of one word, it has got one preposition prefixed to there, on children, which means it looks like, or the title says, on children. But the explanation that we find or the thoughts that are written, they are for parents. Actual meaning is a parent should think about children, because in the beginning of the poem itself, a mother comes to him and asks the prophet to speak on children or speak about children. That is why they are the ideas of prophet. Now remember, as I said here, who is the prophet? Now, prophet can be a learned person, as I said, the meaning I have already told you, or prophet is a man of God, or prophet is God himself. When different ideas are presented here, that is not important for us who is prophet here. What is important for us? What is the idea that prophet presents to us? Okay, let's go ahead with the poem. What happens now? You see here, the poem begins. Your children are not your children. How the mother must have felt who came to the prophet with the child pressed close to her bosom. She comes to the prophet and says, speak to us on children. Speak to us about children. She must have come with lot many aspirations. She must have come with lot many expectations that the prophet is going to tell me something very beautiful. And when she holds that child very close to her bosom, she must be feeling the love and the warmth of the child. She must be feeling, or she must be, trying to show all the love for the child, because every child is a gift of God. You must have heard this quotation where it is said, every child born is a star dust flown away from the hand of God. Lucky or blessed is the mother who has held a child in her hand, for she has held a star. Should I repeat? It says, every child born is a star dust flown away from the hand of God. Lucky or blessed is the mother who has given birth to a child, for she has held a star in her hand. In Kannada, there is a beautiful saying, ಹೆತ್ತಿದ್ದು ಹೆಗ್ಗಣವಾದರೂ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಮಗುವೆ, meaning to say, even if a mother gives birth to a bandicoot, still the mother says, it is my child. It may not happen. A mother may not give birth to a bandicoot. A human mother would give birth to a human child. But the meaning is very clear to us. For a mother, the child is something great. There cannot be anybody, or she cannot replace the child. She cannot give the place of child to anybody. And with this feeling, the mother comes to the prophet. And you know what does the prophet begin with? He says, your children are not your children. Then who are they? See what he says. They are the sons and daughters of life. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. What a beautiful sentence the prophet has given. Okay? Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. I told you he is a mystical poet. I told you he has got many philosophical ideas presented here. What the mother must have felt when the prophet said, this child is not your child. Your children are not your children. Very fact, when he says your children are not your children, then they belong to someone. That idea comes. And whom do the children belong to? He says, they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. This particular phrase, life's longing for itself, it is very, very heavy with meaning. What do you mean by life? Life, of course, is as opposed to death. Meaning to say, life, there cannot be death. Life always desires to continue living. I'm sure the monsoon has begun. And now, if you go and see our Mother Earth, you will see everywhere the life has sprouted. Everywhere the green plants have come up. And where they were? They were waiting. You see, the life was longing itself to express. You see, life never wants to die. I'll give you an example. When we fall sick, we run to the doctor. Why? Even if we have a grandmother or a grandfather who is 99, who is 100 or even plus 100, still when they fall sick, we don't leave them to die. Neither do they want to die. All want to live because that is what life means. The longing of the life is always to live, and life has to continue. We have a poem little later where, the foot and the child, where a child, the foot wants to become a butterfly or an apple. We will study it later, and they would understand life doesn't end. The poet Pablo Neruda there says the life transforms, the life continues. Similarly for us, the life continues. So here also he says children are the daughters and sons of life's longing for itself, meaning to say the life is expressed in different forms. That's why I think poet Rabindranath Tagore said, every child born is a sign that God still loves the world, and God doesn't deal with death, God deals with life, because He is the one who creates life. So let us remember that. Very difficult to understand this concept, but we need to understand it is life's longing for itself. So when a child is born, what do we see there? Life is seen there. When another child is born, another life is seen there. Another life is seen there, because the life always wants to continue. Next, he says, they come through you, but not from you. Get this line properly. They come through you, but not from you. What does he mean when he says they come through you, but not from you? See, this is where we have to understand. A parent feels that this is my child. I have given birth. A mother says, this is my child. I have given birth. I've carried the child for 9 months in my womb. And with all the difficulties, sufferings, I have given birth to a child. I read somewhere it is said, the pain a mother feels, what we call it, the birth pang. You must have studied this particular word last year in the poem, money. Okay, so the pang, or it is called the birth pang, that is the pain a mother undergoes to give birth to a child, is incomparable. It is said human body contains 207 bones, and the pain a mother feels while giving birth to a child is equal to 207 bones breaking together. You can imagine the pain she undergoes. And with such pain she undergoes, but when a child is born, when she holds the child in her hand, she forgets all the pain she has undergone, she underwent. Because the joy of holding that child in her hand makes her to forget. She reaches into 9th heaven or 7th heaven. She feels so happy and she forgets the pain. But the Prophet says, these children come through you, but not from you. Meaning to say, mother or parents can never say, children, that I have, they are from me. A tree may say, well, this fruit, it is from me. It is from me. A scientific invention. A scientist can say, well, I have invented this. It wasn't there earlier, but I invented it. I invented it. But here, mother and parents can never say, well, it was not there. Prophet has already made it very clear. It is the life, is the longing, children are the longing of the life. So they only come through the parents, meaning to say, parents are only a medium. They come through you. They come through you. For example, in economics, you must have studied the concept of money, where nobody can say, this money is mine, though popularly we say, my money. I have kept it in the bank. I have fixed it. Well, this is not my money. The money is in transaction. From one person it comes to my hand, from my hand it goes to another hand. So money is in transaction, money does not belong to anybody. It comes from one hand, goes to another, from there it goes to another hand. Now during Corona, we have understood very well this particular aspect. There was no money because there was no business. So money was not there in transaction at all because there was no business. Nobody could say this is my money. Similarly, here he says, you cannot say this child is mine. Only thing is that this has come through you and not from you. So from where the child is come then? Surely we say, I said, this is why I said, every child is a gift of God. If God doesn't give, well, I think children are not there. That's why Rabindranath Tagore said, every child is a sign that God still loves the world. The prophet continues and says, they belong not to you. They belong not to you. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. Throughout, the children are with the parents, or at least until they grow up, until they settle in life, they remain with the parents. And the prophet says, yeah, they are with you, but they are not from you. They do not belong to you. You can never say, as like a possession. I've paid and got. I got this mobile and it is mine. This wristwatch I paid and I bought it and this is mine. And a mother can never say, I gave birth to this child and this is mine. Prophet says, you have given birth. They have come because the continuity of life in the form of a child has been given to you. That's all. That's all he says. See how difficult, how the mother must have felt. She must have got angry. She must have got annoyed with the prophet when he was speaking in those terms. But prophet is a prophet because he's a man of God. He has to convey the truth. Truth is very bitter. It's very difficult to accept. But as a man of God, he has to speak for God. As a man of God, he has to speak instead of God, and he speaks the truth directly, black and white, bluntly he says it. Let us continue. The prophet says, you may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. What a beautiful image he creates in our mind. He says, what is that? When very beautifully he says, you may give them your love, but not your thoughts. See why? They have their own thoughts. I'm sure you have understood this. And as students, you must be feeling this very much that our parents do not understand us because their thoughts are different and your thoughts are different. Your thinking is different and their thinking is different. What we call, this is not the generation gap that we are speaking about. Sometimes our parents are not educated enough. Sometimes our parents, they have not seen the world around. They do not know these modern electronic gadgets and other things. Hence, their thoughts are different. What the prophet says is, when children have their own thoughts, meaning to say, when their thinking is different, their aspirations are different, their desires are different, their aim in life is different. So, what can parents do? Parents can give them their love, they cannot give them their thoughts. You must have seen beautiful movie Super 30 where it is said Raja ka beta Raja nahi banega. Meaning to say that is what we were thinking earlier. A barber's son should be a barber. An engineer's son should be an engineer. A doctor's son should be a doctor. A lawyer's son should be a lawyer. But that does not hold good today. An engineer's son can be a barber today. A barber's son can be a doctor today. A lawyer's son can be a businessman today. And we know this. I'm sure you yourself must be having different kinds of thoughts. Because you have your own thoughts and you develop these thoughts the way you are living in the society depending on the different aspects which influence you. And that is what prophet says when they have their own thoughts. Further he says, you may house their bodies but not their souls. Another beautiful thought he says, you may house their bodies but not their souls. The human person, we have studied and we know it, is made up of body and soul. And we know the soul lives in human body. You must have studied Here a poem by poet Kuvempu, translated into English by V.K. Gokak, where it is said, "Be unhoused, O my soul, O Nanna Chetana, Aguni Aniketana," where he is speaking about the soul, meaning to say the soul cannot be housed. Soul cannot be housed. The soul goes from one body to another body. The soul, when it enters a human body, in fact, it is imprisoned in human body. But when the death occurs, it is free. It is free. And the soul, the Atma, has to go back to Paramatma. So, soul doesn't belong to us. It is come from God. It needs to go back to God. And he says here, you may house their body, but not their souls. Not their souls. What a beautiful thought the poet is presenting to us. And he says, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. See, the house of tomorrow. See, different images, the figure of speech that is used here, where it says, their soul, it dwells in the house of tomorrow. The children have their own dreams. They have their own dreams. And they pursue education, or they live, they survive, they do everything in order to reach that particular house of tomorrow. That is to reach their dream. So there is no point in parent housing their souls or controlling them or imprisoning them in their own thoughts and ideas. That is why a parent should never come in between the child when the child decides about the future. Many times we come to know, because of the force of the parents, the children come up and join different courses. They say, well, I couldn't be a doctor, my son has to be a doctor. Though he doesn't want to be a doctor, because of the force of the parents, he chooses. Finally, he ends up here and there. I couldn't be an engineer, my son has to be an engineer. He has no interest for engineering, but still, because of the force of the parents, he joins. I'm sure you must have seen the movie Three Idiots, where Farhan wanted to become a photographer, a wild photographer, anything about the forest and other beauty of the nature. But the parents wanted him to be an engineer, and because of their force, he comes there, hiding his own aspirations, his desires. Of course, later he goes. Similarly, here the Prophet is telling, well, don't try to house their souls. Live it, because they live in the house of tomorrow. What if a doctor's son says, well, I would like to be a barber. I would like to be a lifestylist. I'm sure he must be given a chance. What if an engineer's son says, well, I want to be a writer. I want to go to the forest, sit under a tree and get inspired by the forest and write a lot of poetry or essays or many things I want to write. Why not? Why not? Because their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, and the Prophet is telling, give this freedom to your children and don't build a house for them. Don't build a house for them and tell them, live in this house. Further, he says, their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, he says, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. He says, the parents, you cannot even visit this particular house, not even in your dreams, because you do not know what they want to. Many a times the parents come and complain, I do not know what is going on in his mind. Many of the parents say, well, he is very good in studies, but he doesn't want to be a doctor, doesn't want to be an engineer, but he says he wants to be an artist. Yeah, we do not know what is there in the mind of the child. As I said, once again, I would like to refer you to the food from the child, to the child from its food. That poem where the child wants to be a butterfly or an apple. Meaning to say, you see, we do not know what made the child to have that desire in the heart. Now imagine the child wants to be a butterfly or an apple, and the parents want to make him a doctor or an engineer. Will the child be very happy? Let's go back to that Three Idiot movie where Farhan was not happy studying in the Paramount Engineering College because he wanted to be a photographer. Because of the force of the parents, he was there. How many children of this sort are there studying in our institutions? Because of the force of the parents or because of the force of the family members, they have sacrificed their own dreams and they are living a different kinds of life. They never find happiness in that, and our parents should keep this in mind. That is why Prophet speaks to this mother. He He says you cannot visit not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. Another beautiful thought the poem, the prophet presents here. He says, you may strive to be like them. Well, whatever your child wants to become, try to emulate him. Try to follow the footsteps. You may try to become, but don't make them like you. He's telling the king, don't make your son a king. See, he's telling a lawyer, don't make your son a lawyer. He's telling an engineer, don't make your son an engineer. Give him freedom, let him become whatever he wants. Don't try to make him like you. Why? The reason he gives. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You see, life doesn't go backward. It cannot keep back steps. It doesn't tarry with yesterday. It always goes forward because life continues. Life continues, and continues means life has to go forward. It cannot go backward. There is no rewind button in life. Life always in play mode. Please remember this, and prophet is warning the parents with regard to this. Let's continue with the poem. He says, you are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. You are the bows and your children are the arrows, and he says they are sent forth from this particular bow. I'm sure you are familiar with this particular imagery of the bow and the arrow. Now, for an arrow to be shot, you require a bow. You require a bow. Now, the bow is attached to the arrow is attached to the bow, and the string is pulled, and it becomes a launching pad for the arrow to be shot. Now, when the archer, when he pulls the string and shoots the arrow, it goes to a particular point. It goes to its aim. It achieves the purpose for which it is shot. And the prophet says, you are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. They are not dead arrows, they are living arrows. Which means the parent should act like the launching pad. You have heard about PSLV, Polar Satellite Launching Vehicle. Now this polar satellite launching vehicle pad is required from where a satellite is launched into the space. So without that launching pad, it is very, very difficult. Similarly, without the parents, children cannot be launched into the parents. That's why a parentless child suffers in life. Or many times we say, because this child has no parents, there is nobody to guide him, there is nobody to show way for him. Similarly here, parents, the prophet repeats that idea, and he says, parents should behave like bows. And what should they do? They should shoot the arrows. Who are the arrows here? The children are the arrows, and he calls them living arrows. And parents he calls as bows, bow and arrow. And he says, the archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite. Remember, who is the archer here? Archer is the one who shoots the arrow. Archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Now, very, very important concept is spoken here, and so we need to see the line here and the style of writing also. What do I mean here? You just see, you find here, the archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite. When the archer, that is one who shoots, he sees a mark, he sees an aim and shoots the arrow, so that the arrow may go and hit the aim, hit that particular point, bullseye point. Now can you see here in the line, he says, and he bends. Suddenly in between the line we find capital H for he. Now it is repeated 3 times here. He bends you with his might, capital S, and again, and his arrow, capital H. Why these pronouns? Though in between the sentence, you represent it is represented with capital H there. Remember, this capital H refers to God. Refers to God. Okay, it doesn't refer to any other human being. So please understand here, he bends. Who bends now? God bends. Who? You refers to parents. With his might, with his power, and his arrows. Who are these arrows now? Children. So very clear now, children are the gift of God. They belong to God. So he says, well, I have created them for a particular purpose, and I would make them grow, but under the care of you, the parents. So he says, well, you are only a bow. Remember, when the arrow goes, the bow cannot say, I shot the arrow. Who shot the arrow? The archer shot the arrow. So who is archer here? That is God. And he says, archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends with his might so that his arrows may go swift and far. See, the arrow cannot crawl and go. The arrow cannot go very, very, very slow. The arrow has to go very swift and very far. Very far. This is what we mean. Children should be very active. They cannot be like a python. They cannot be like, a bird or a hen fallen in the water. They should be always very swift and very far. They should be full of life. They should be full of life. And why they should be full of life? In going and hitting the bullseye. In going and reaching the desire, the dream of their soul. What the prophet calls in upper lines as house of tomorrow. Hence, whatever you do, you should be full of life. You shouldn't be like as if you have no life there or very lethargic in your life. You should be the arrow. Yes, the arrow has to go very far, arrow has to go very swift. Remember this in your life, to be very swift and very active, very active. Further, the last lines of the poem, the poet says, let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. You see, bow bends. If the bow doesn't bend, the arrow doesn't go very fast, very far. So the bow has to bend. Similarly, here the prophet tells a parent has to bend. Now, who is bending this bow? God is bending. What do you mean by bending? When the bow bends, there are chances of bow breaking. Similarly, a parent undergoes many a suffering in his or her life in bringing up the children. We have seen this. Many parents suffer a lot in bringing up their children. Now imagine the prophet has already said, they are not your children. Meaning to say, a parent is suffering all the ways just to bring up the child which belongs to God, or rather, negatively, which doesn't belong to him or her. So the parent can very well say, why should I suffer? The bow can say, why should I bend? After all, I am not going, the arrow goes. But the prophet says, who is bending you? Let your bending in archer's hand, your bending, parents bending refers to suffering, in the archer's hand, that is in the hand of God, be for gladness. And have you seen any parents telling you, I am not ready to do anything for you? Why should I go and work in the hot sun and bring money and look after you and feed you? My daddy has said that. Your daddy has said that. He would never say. Your mother would never say, why should I go and work and slog in the kitchen? Why should I do that? Has any time your mother come and told you, I've got fever today, I've got headache today, hence I will not cook for you? No, she cooks in spite of having many sufferings. Many a times she hides her sufferings and doesn't express them. She doesn't express them because she loves the child. She loves her children. Our parents, sometimes they suffer. We demand for many things. We want a mobile, we want a bike. They may not be having money. Many a times they borrow money from someone and they satisfy our wants, they satisfy our desires, they satisfy our dreams. They never tell you why. Because they bend or they get themselves bent in the hand of the archer, in the hand of God. And they feel a kind of happiness in doing things for their children. They never reveal the sufferings they undergo for your sake, and every child must remember this. And the prophet concludes the poem with a beautiful thought. He says, for Even as he, see this capital he or H refers to God, even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves the bow that is stable. Very important. He says he loves the arrow that flies. God loves an active child. The arrow should always fly. Arrow cannot sit in the quiver of the archer. You know the quiver, which the box which holds the arrow. Now, arrow cannot remain there. It has no meaning. They say a ship has no meaning if it is anchored in the port. It's very safe there. Ship, when it's caught up in the middle of the sea, in between a stormy weather, that is where ship finds meaning, because the ship she has to wade through the waves and the storm and go and go and go. She has to travel in the difficult weather. Similarly, our arrow has to fly. Remember, children, you have to fly. Remember, flying not in the air. We use a phrase, he is flying in the air, not negatively. Fly in the sense, it is a continuous effort from the children to go and reach the aim. Continuous effort from the children to fulfill the dream, to fulfill the purpose in life. Whatever be the purpose, we need to be continuously in action. That is the reason these lessons are posted, so that you don't lie dormant at home, you keep in touch with. We need to be all the time active. To give you a very simple example, like our parents, they never take rest. All the time they are into actions 24 hours, or rather 24 into 7. They always think about their children. They think about their children and they work round the clock. And God says, well, He says very beautifully, He says, well, for even as He loves the arrow that flies, another H here, God refers to God, so He loves also the bow that is stable. Wow. He says, what is that? He loves the bow that is stable. Meaning to say, who is that bow? Bow refers to the parents. Parents have to be very, very stable. Parents can't be like children. Parents can't be childish. We require a stable parent, a strong parent. A mother has to be lovable. A father has to be firm. Because a father figure cannot be replaced by mother, and a mother figure cannot be replaced by a father. Father's role has to be played by father, and mother's role has to be played by mother in the family in bringing up the children. So he says, what kind of parents do we require? We do not want parents who spoil the children by giving them each and everything. When it is time to say yes, they have to say yes. When it is time to say no, they have to say no. One no can hurt the child, no worry, because a mother or a parent knows what is good for the child. You see, small children sometimes they want to play with fire, they want to play with a knife, and a good mother would never give the blade or a sharp knife to the child. Even if the mother wants to play, the child wants to play with fire, mother would see that the child doesn't go very close to the fire, because there are all the possibilities of the child getting itself or herself or himself burnt. So sometimes the child cries, but the mother would not allow. The mother would not give the knife in the hand of the child, because child doesn't know that a knife cuts. Child doesn't know. It wants to play. In the process of playing, the child may end up hurting itself, and the mother knows. So when a child wants to play with a knife, mother has to be very stable. Father has to be very stable. No, I won't give you. There are many things in our life we want them, but the parent should give them according to their age and the maturity level. If things are given in advance, the children get spoiled, and we have got many examples today. And that is where the prophet tells the mother, be stable. When you have to say yes to the child. When you have to say no to the child. You see what way the poet is catechizing. Poet is instructing the mother to be a very good mother. Very good mother. So let us remember this, what prophet wants us to understand, that God loves also the bow that is very stable, and indirectly is telling the mother, don't spoil your child whom you are holding very close to your bosom. She may be the only child you have given birth. God must not have given you or may not give you any more child. That doesn't mean you have to spoil the child by giving each and everything that the child wants, the child demands. Make the child to understand what is good and what is bad. Make the child to understand which things are given at what age in their life. And who can do this? Only a stable parent, a strong parent can do that. My dear students, keep one thing in mind. It is easy to become the president of a country. It's very easy to become the prime minister of a country. You can end up becoming a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor. You study and you finish it up. But remember, it is not easy to be a parent. It is not easy to be a father and a mother. Why? So much responsibility we have got. It is said God couldn't be everywhere, so He created parents. God couldn't be everywhere, so He created parents, which means the responsibility of God is thrusted upon the parents. Responsibility of God of looking after is thrusted on the parents. That's why the prophet says, they come through you but not from you. You cannot house their bodies. You can't do anything. Only you are the bows and the arrows are shot making use of the bow, which means the responsibility of the parent is to prepare the child for the future. Many times we hear about rape cases. December 16th, what happened in Delhi 3 or 4 years ago. Even a teenager was involved. What was the reason? The reason was the parent had not played the proper role. If the father and mother had brought up that son properly, he wouldn't have done that. Somewhere they failed. Today, if you find moral decadence in the society, what is the reason? Let us not blame the media. We need to blame the parents. Parents have failed to play their role. They have failed to be stable. They have not shot the arrow. That is why children end up like this. Hence, it is not easy to be a parent. Parent has to be awake even during the night. What I mean to say is not that the mother should not sleep. Their responsibility doesn't stop. Responsibility doesn't stop. It is not like a director. It's like a manager who says morning 10 o'clock to evening 5 I am in the office, then I am off. I am no more manager, next day morning I would come. A father and a mother can never say, I am father and mother for 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours. No, you are a father and mother forever. And you are the responsibility for the society. Hence, tomorrow, if our society gets spoiled or we have unwanted elements in the society, the reason for that would be not the media, but would be the parent. The parent should know what to give and what not to give. They have to be very, very stable. That is why the prophet concludes the poem saying, he loves also the bow that is stable. So he is asking the mother, you need to become a very stable parent. Just to sum up the poem, what does the poet want to say through this poem? He says, parents cannot be very possessive. You don't possess children, only they come through you and they go. And he says, they cannot force their will on children. Parents cannot force their own whims and fancies or their aspirations on children. Sometimes when we watch reality shows, can be dancing or singing shows, we have heard many parents telling, I wanted to be a singer, I couldn't be, so I want my daughter or my son to be a singer. Yeah, he sings, but we do not know whether son wanted to be a singer. We do not know whether the daughter wanted to be a dancer. Looks like the parents are forcing that child. Hence, he says, well, don't be over possessive. Allow them, because God is there to take care. They are only the medium. Parents are only the medium. And he says, parents can provide only a house, but not a house for their soul. Meaning to say, when parents leave them free, they will fulfill their own dreams, their aspirations, their desires in life. But he says, you cannot give them anything in your life. He says, children are allowed to grow on their own. Only parents need to guide them and remain with them. Remain with them and allow them to grow. And in the process, they should remember that they should be very firm sometimes. They should be very stable sometimes. And help God in shaping the future of the child. Cooperate and collaborate with God in making the child a responsible citizen of the society. So children, let us listen to our parents. Let us understand our parents. Let us love them also. And let us become living arrows. And try to find out what God has created me for. What is the purpose? As an arrow, where should I be shot and where should I go? Which is the bullseye in my life? And let us try to achieve it, because God wants me to be very active and God wants me to go there and hit the bull's eye. So I cannot be an unwanted element in the society. I cannot be simply roaming about or simply existing. I need to live and live my life with a purpose. Let us remember this. The life in me has to continue. It has to continue and it continues. But in the process, let us make our life very meaningful and let us also make others' life very meaningful. Looking at us, let the people say, what a child is born to this particular parent. Let them give glory to God, and thus let us try to create a beautiful society in and around us.